Hi everyone, Christine here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, A Dash of Soy, the channel for home cooks that want to learn more about Chinese cooking and culture.
Today I'm making a hearty and healthy Chinese style fish soup.
If you want weekly recipes, go on to my website at adashofsoy.com for more. Hi everyone, Christine here. Welcome to A Dash of Soy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this delicious Chinese fish soup. So have you ever been to a Chinese restaurant where they have this beautiful milky white fish soup broth? That broth is just so hearty with a lot of collagen, so nutritious. They use fresh fish to make this delicious soup. And actually, I'm here to tell you it's very simple for you to make this at home yourself, okay? So you just need a few ingredients. You need to go to the market to go get yourself a fish and a few ingredients. You can actually make this soup at home yourself and you don't need to go out to the Chinese restaurant to order it. I'm gonna show you how. For this recipe, you're going to need a fish from the supermarket, black bass, some bok choy or some kind of vegetable that you like, 1 pound of lean pork, some ginger, and some tofu. So this recipe is so simple for you to make at home. I'm really excited to show you. Let's get cooking. Alright, so I'm getting ready to make my fish soup now. And actually, I went to the Chinese market earlier today to get a fish. And I didn't get a live fish. I got one that was already in the frozen, not frozen, but it's on ice in the seafood section. So the fish is like freshly just died. So it's still pretty fresh. And a good way to check if your fish is actually still relatively like lively, like it didn't just die really recently, is checking the gills. Like you lift up the gills and if it's still red, then that means your fish did not die that long ago. So it's still relatively fresh and it's good to make soup with, okay? So I got my fresh fish from the market. About a pound, a little over a pound or so is good. And I am boiling my water right now so I can boil out my lean pork first. And when you pick pork for soup, you always want to pick the lean ones where there isn't any fat, because Chinese people, we don't like to have all that fat like float to the top of the soup. We like just that flavor of the stewed pork without the fat. So when you pick the meat at the market, make sure you pick the lean pork, okay? So I cubed this lean pork already and I'm going to boil it out for about 2 minutes to just boil out the impurities, and then I'm going to add it to the soup. I also boiled 12 cups of water, waiting for my water to boil right now to get the soup going. And before this, I've actually already sliced up some ginger, got some of my other ingredients ready. I washed my vegetables, my bok choy. Another vegetable that is a good replacement is yao choy or mustard green, gai choy. That would be a good complement to the soup as well. Or just spinach. It's a very mild vegetable, would go great with the soup. And I also already cubed and sliced my tofu. It's about like 1 centimeter wide, I'd say. And you don't have to add the whole cube of tofu in. You can actually just add half. I mean, up to your liking. You don't have to add the whole thing in. But when you do use it for the soup, take it out, you do have to cut the whole thing. So, alright, so now my water is boiling and I'm going to boil out the impurities of my pork first. Right, now I'm going to use my wok to pan fry the fish first, and I have about 1 tablespoon of oil right here to get my oil hot first before I pan fry the fish. Alright, so I turn my heat on like a medium heat because you want to make sure your wok is really hot to really crisp up the skin of the fish so it has a beautiful like brownness to the fish. And that's also the key to making your soup milky. So I finished doing my pork already, so you know when your pork is done after all sides are like a light brown texture, like a light white texture. It's not red on any side anymore. And I actually cut my pork into little pieces so the flavor of the pork will come out more in the soup. Alright, so my oil is glistening across my wok. That means my oil is hot enough and it is ready. Okay, so be careful of this part. There might be juices from the fish, so it might bounce back. So make sure your fish doesn't have that many liquid in there, or else it'll be kind of like sizzling. I don't want you to get hurt, okay? So when you put the fish down, be careful of that loud oh. There you go. Yeah. So after I have my fish down right now, and it's kind of like pan frying, you gotta wait a few minutes. Obviously not to let it burn, but just let it brown before you flip it over. Because if you flip it over, if your fish is not really brown, then it's not as good. That also helps with combating the fishiness of the fish. So make sure you're pan frying a nice brown color on both sides is important. Okay, so you gotta be patient. You can keep checking on the fish, but don't flip it over until it has that nice brown. And the great thing about this soup is that this is called a quick boil soup, or guantong in Chinese. So it's not your typical like 3.5 hour long stewed soup like, you know, chicken soup. It's relatively quick soup, so an hour or an hour and a half, then you already have this broth ready to be to drink. And when you add the tofu and the vegetables, it's just really hearty and fulfilling and so satisfying. And fish from this soup has a lot of protein, and it's great for kids to drink. And I've actually, Chinese people believe that fish soup is really good with producing breast milk. And I don't know if this is true, but Chinese people believe that if you drink a lot of fish soup or eat a lot of fish, then the skin color of your kids will be really like milky white, you know? So I don't know, it's just a little myth, but it's up to you whether you believe it or not. Alright, so my skin is nice and crispy right now. You can hear the crackling. And what you do now is pour a little bit of that water from your soup into the wok, and let the fish and the water kind of cook. It has a pan searing hot. That's the whiteness of the broth come out, okay? So this is really crucial. Make sure it's nice and pan searing hot, and then pour some water in. Woo! There you go. Yep, and then the milky broth, whiteness of the broth is gonna come out from the fish. Oh yeah. Alright, so my broth is already boiled out to like a nice milky white broth from the fish. So I already poured in my fish and the broth into my soup right here, and added in my stewed pork and my ginger, and I'm going to let the soup boil for about an hour. I'm actually going to just add the vegetables, the bok choy and the tofu at the very end to finish. So this time is actually more for just the fish and the stewed pork to boil out its flavor. Once the soup is almost done, I'm going to just add the vegetables for the last few minutes and tofu at the very end to drink and eat with the soup. Alright, I'm ready to try my fish soup now. Oh, this tastes so warm and so delicious with that beautiful fish flavor and this milky white broth. And the nice vegetables and tofu gives it the nice bite. It's perfect for like a cold winter day like I'm having right now. It's like cold and rainy outside. This soup is like perfect for that. And if you want an extra little kick, I actually like to drink this soup with a little bit of white pepper, just to sprinkle it on top. And then you garnish the soup with a little bit of cilantro, and that's all you need. And this is perfectly homey and seafoody, and wow, it's really hitting. a spot right now. This tastes really good. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next video. Bye!